my pants way too tight. Can I walk in these shoes? Will he notice they're loose? If I'm moving slow, do you think I'm too fast? Should I leave? Should I stay? Should I go my own way? This is the first time I found something for you. Deeper than skin, now you're in and I'm confused. Now you got me feeling something I cannot hide. I'm letting go, baby, 'cause you make me feel alive. Hey, shake it how you want. Move your hands, and you turn it all around. Round and round, take it up and down. 'Cause if it makes you feel good, you must be doing it right.
Oh, so that was a bit of Get Loose with It. Thank you so much for coming in, Crystal.
Thank you.
Tell me a bit about that song.
It was really, when I wrote it, it was basically because I was one of those kids that never really was confident in who I was. And a lot of times I think we make ourselves out to be cool or whatever the society is asking us to be. And I think I just got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I don't care. We're all individuals. We're all supposed to be different. And Get Loose with It is basically about just being yourself, no matter what anybody thinks of you, or you don't have to be the cool kid on the wall all the time. Even when you're at a dance party, just get loose with it. No matter if you're dancing funky or fun, just get loose with it and be yourself at all times.
When did you first start singing? When did you realize that it was something you wanted to do?
I'd say at the age of 3. Yeah, I would go around, I think my mom would say I'd go around the house humming and annoying my sisters. And I think even now, it's like when somebody mentions a word or something, I turn it into a song or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, about the age of 3.
And where did it go from there? When did it start being something you could do as a career?
When it started being something I could do as a career, I think it's at the age of 16. I had my first show with Jessica Simpson, and I did this Disney show with her, which was fun. And I was like, I know I have to do this. I have to do this, you know. So, yeah.
And from there, I mean, how difficult was it to get into the industry?
I went to school. I studied as a jazz major in college, and I really just started doing gigs, and from jazz clubs to different singing background for different people. I sang for Heather Headley, Yolanda Adams, Kanye West, a bunch of different people, and then ended up doing a show on Broadway. And I think it's just saying yes rather than always limiting yourself to, but I'm not supposed to be doing that, I'm supposed to be doing this, and just having fun in the process. People will notice that. If you have a great attitude, people will notice that, and that you're passionate. And so you hang around the right people, you do the right type of gigs, and you're gonna get noticed.
Yeah, you talk about being on Broadway. Was that in Baby It's You?
Yeah, it was Baby It's You.
What was that like?
It was such a fun experience. It was something that I never imagined that I would do. I never went to school for it, and I had this little audition for a small little theater in Hollywood, and it was for 99-seat theater.
Yeah.
And I came in and I auditioned for the 2 producers, and they said that at that moment that I got the job. And we were in a 99-seat theater for about a year or 2, and the next couple years we went to Broadway. So I could never imagine that I was going to star on Broadway, but it was a fun experience.
Yeah, and is it something you'd like to do more of?
I think that Broadway is an amazing experience. Right now I'm focusing on just my album and doing that kind of thing, and maybe in the future,
Let's talk about your album.
Yeah.
What was your process of getting that to where it is now?
Yeah, so it was an interesting process because I started writing the songs. I never really said, okay, this is going to be my focus point. I'm going to start writing about this. I just started writing stories about amazing, powerful women in my life. And I think I named it Kiss and Tell before. And I think just had an aha moment when God just was revealed it to me. This is supposed to be about the woman, powerful women, celebrating your grandma and your mom and your sisters, and nothing putting down men that they're not amazing, because I have an amazing dad, amazing husband, but it was just celebrating those around us. And the stories were, War Hero is about my mom. She went through some trials and tribulations, and my best friend's relationships, my relationships, and it's the things that us as women go through that we don't necessarily complain about or talk about, but it's just the stories, breakups and loving somebody through them treating us badly. And Heart Attack is one of those songs. War Hero is about my mom going through the battles of relationships, and you know, I Still Love You is about me loving somebody who didn't quite love me at the time and chose somebody else, but I still love them through it. So I think that's what us as women sometimes do. You know, we choose to love even through those moments, you know.
And you've performed, we mentioned at the beginning, with some pretty huge names.
Yeah.
What's the standout moment for you? What, that real moment of sort of pinching yourself, you can't believe you're there?
Oh man, I think I've had a few of those moments.
Yeah.
Just recently, it was, I opened up for The Cure with some friends of mine, and it was in Japan.
Yeah.
And that was for 100,000 people. That was amazing. We did the Fuji Rock Festival. That was a moment, I would say, God, there was just so many moments. Stevie Wonder, like when you're on stage with those kind of legends, you're just like staring at them and watching their every move. Anita Baker, yeah, just so many. Oh, I remember, it was when I was on Broadway, and I was on stage and I was about to sing my song, and I came off stage and somebody said backstage, "Do you know who's in the front row?" And I was like, oh my God, who's in the front row? And she's like, Aretha Franklin.
Oh
At that moment, I wanted to pass out. I was like hyperventilating that I go on stage and I couldn't remember my lyrics for my songs. I was like, oh my God, what song am I supposed to sing? But it came out, but it was I mean, having Aretha Franklin sit in front of you.
Yeah,
and,
why did they tell you before?
Oh my God, I know.
Although I suppose if you'd have looked down and seen her there, that probably would have thrown you off even more.
Right, exactly. I think that just recently happened too when I was telling you we were performing I Want You Back, and Berry Gordy was standing in front of, jumping up in front of us, and he was the one who founded the Jackson 5, you know, so that was a great moment too. It just recently, like a couple weeks ago.
So many exciting moments in your career so far.
Yeah.
And you're going to be performing here in London. What can we expect to see from you here?
I'm really excited because this is going to be our first performance here in London, and I'm bringing the bow ties out. As you can see, the guys, the two guys who sing background for me, they're called the bow ties. So my whole band is going to be here. And it's going to be a high energy. So we're kind of like the girl version of the Bruno Mars and the Hooligans. So it's Crystal Starr and the Bow Ties kind of thing.